Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Donaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, the original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome into another edition of the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV and the strongest Signal Ravens affiliate on the peninsula, Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. We are broadcasting from the Ravens Room at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravens fans and, of course, Ravens News 44. Give yourselves a hand. We'll be talking about you guys in just a second. Welcome into week number 6 of the NFL for your 3-2 Baltimore Ravens. Coming up, we will recap the 26-23 win over the Miami Dolphins. We'll talk news and notes, take a trip around the AFC North, and preview the upcoming game against the Green Bay Packers. Kickoff at 1 o'clock at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. On the radio, of course, that's preceded by the network pregame show at 12:30. And this show, of course, airs at 11 a.m. on 93.5 The Beach, WZBHRocks.com. The Ravens Wrap Show brought to you by our friends, of course, at the original Green Turtle, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, Bud Light, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Geico, the Ocean City Golf Club, jctickets.net, Holiday Inn Express at Northside in Ocean City. Our friends at Donaway Furniture, visit them for great furniture, Serta mattresses, and rental makeovers, 130th Street in Ocean City, 410-250-5100. And we want to welcome our newest sponsor, Mid-Atlantic Toyota. You can find them online at buyatoyota.com. So welcome them in. There you go. And hey, we've got a brand new Facebook page up. Check us out. Like us on Facebook, Ravens Wrap at the Blue Ox. Type that into the search box and like us. And we've got a website coming very soon at ravenswrap.com. I'm Mike Bradley from 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore and locally on 92.7 WGMD. To my left, former coach, Ravens News 44 member Steve Slazer. Welcome back, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.
To his left, 14-year All-Pro safety, former Baltimore Colt, Bruce Slayer. Welcome back, sir. And we've got OC Local and John Garriglacki. Craig Lynch joining us. Craig, welcome to the panel for the first time this year. Well, folks, of course, we want to let you know that next week is the big show. Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti will be joining us here on the set for his annual trip with us, or annual visit, I should say, with us. We are looking forward to that. So make sure to be here early. Of course, doors open at 5 and the show begins at 7 right here at the Blue Ox in Ocean City. Want to see you down here for that. Well, guys, let's set the scene. The Ravens came in last week with a 2-2 record. The Miami Dolphins at 3-1. The Ravens were without wide receiver Brandon Stokely, Jacoby Jones, defensive end Marcus Spears, Terrence Cody, and newly acquired offensive tackle that is Eugene Monroe did not play as he was not up to speed fast enough with the Ravens playbook. For the Dolphins, of no cornerback Demetri Patterson was out for the game as well. But guys, the headlines first and foremost, we were talking about this offset with Ravens News 44. What a hand, and give a big hand. There were at least 10,000 fans, Ravens fans in Miami. That's Ravens Roost members alone, between upwards of 15 and 20,000 Ravens fans at Sun Life Stadium in Miami. Give yourselves a round of applause for that. First and foremost, that to me is a headline right there. Almost a home game for a team on the road, guys. For John Harbaugh, and he acknowledged it at the press conference on Monday, for him and his team to see that. I know it was classy after the game, Steve, that John raced over to make sure all the players went over to the fans in the stands to thank them for their trip.
I thought that was neat. After the game, you could see him walk around all the players, and he was literally grabbing them one by one. It's like, get over there and see them. You know, I think it's great to have a coach that is a fan as well and understands what the fans go through to get down there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Bruce, I mean, as a former player, you got to love that. It's tough on the road as it is, but to have upwards of 20,000 fans make that trip, hey, that's got to make you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Mike, I in my entire career, I've never had anything more than a couple thousand ever go. I mean, you know, in our day, the Baltimore Colts played New England, Buffalo, and the Jets. We got a little action in New York when the weather was good, but no one ever went to Buffalo. But again, to have that amount of people in an opposing NFL stadium is just so unbelievable. That really is incredible. And let's give yourselves all a hand again. Very special.
I mean, Craig, you know, we could talk about the extra boost that a team gets at home when a team can go on the road and have that kind of fanfare coming out of the tunnel to cheers to the Baltimore O during the anthem. Boy, that's got to give them some extra boost going into the game.
Sure, a ninth home game never hurts a team.
Yep.
And if you have a choice to travel anywhere to a visiting stadium as a Ravens fan, Miami's a good place to travel.
Yeah.
So it's good that they showed up and they got the win with the support of the 20+ thousand fans.
Guys, I guess one of the headlines as well coming into the game was, were the Ravens, and I think we knew the answer going in, but were the Ravens going to return to the running game? They abandoned it to the tune of just 9 rushes against Buffalo, just 2 rushes in the second half. The 9 rushes were the lowest in Ravens franchise history after that game. The Ravens come back, rush the ball 40 times, 133 yards for a 3.3 average. Steve, it still has a lot to be desired, as Ray Rice was still just averaging 2.7, but I think they at least made a baby step, especially on that last drive for the winning field goal. They certainly seemed to run the ball when it really counted in that one.
Well, I heard a stat that says the Ravens are 19-2 after Ray Rice carries the ball 21 times. And, you know, it wasn't a whole lot of difference early on, Bruce, between, you know, how they were running against Miami and how they were running against Buffalo. But they made a concerted effort and said, hey, we're going to stick with the run, and it really paid off.
I think the big thing, Steve, you're so right. First and foremost, when you're on the road, this is written on the blackboard or the little board that they have in every game that every coach is coaching now. It's like the 3 musts. You're must to win. When you're on the road, the first thing ever is start fast is written up in big bold letters. And that's what they did. They got the ball. They went down there. Were able to get 3 points right away. And they became balanced with the run and pass. And they're going to have to continue to do that in this league because, as we know, can you imagine sitting there in shotgun and you're there 31 times and you're in shotgun? As a DB, I would just say to my defensive front, don't worry about anything. Think about screen and draw. Other than that, your job is to go fetch the quarterback. And that can't happen.
It's proven that in the NFL, you need to have a balanced offense to be successful throughout the course of the year. So as a fantasy owner of Ray Rice, I'm glad to see them trying to get the running game back into their game plan. And the win speaks for itself. I mean, a road win by putting the running game back in hopefully will lead to that part of their offense being more prominent in games in the future.
Guys, it's something we can talk about here, which I'm glad the Ravens did, and I know certainly he had a tough day, and one of his errors cost us a touchdown and got Miami even closer into the game, in which we had to fight back and certainly win. But Eugene Monroe, who was picked up from Jacksonville, the only in-season trade that the Ravens have made in their franchise history with Ozzie Newsome, wasn't quite ready to go. And, you know, one missed call, one missed assignment could be the end of Joe Flacco's season. I'm glad they didn't take the chance in really a game that was, I mean, every game's critical in the NFL, but when you're staring at 2-3 with Green Bay coming to town and Pittsburgh after that, Steve, they did need this win, especially coming off the Buffalo loss. It's an AFC game as well. I'm glad that they decided to err on the side of caution and still go with McKinney. And then also, A.Q. Shipley had to come in the game early on for Kelechi Osemele, who had back stiffness.
It was good to see him go with McKinney, but Bruce, you would have to think, hey, if you're playing for your life, your career, and McKinney's there and he knows, hey, I'm probably not going to be here next week, wouldn't you think you would give more of an effort than the one he gave?
You would think so, but I mean, it's very difficult to understand players, especially towards the end of their career. I mean, this is a situation where the offensive line absolutely laid an egg. Let's face it, they laid an egg last week. They had no push. They could not control the line of scrimmage, and they needed to do that. And you can see where Ray Rice is not quite right. In the past, when he was in the open field, those cuts that he would normally make, plant that foot and get there, he was stumbling, bumbling a little bit, so he's not right, but that's what they're going to have to do. And again, when we get into the Green Bay situation, that's going to be a situation again that this is what they're talking about. They started on Monday. They're talking about keeping Aaron Rodgers off the football field. How do you do that? You convert third down, you stay on the field, you eat clock, and the only way you can do that is to run the football. So I think the play will be McKinney out,
Monroe.
For Monroe, and we'll see how that works. But then again, it still all starts with the center. The center makes the calls, and right now, that's still a little iffy on the communication side.
Yeah, no question. Craig, I mean, you've seen the offensive line the last several weeks. Again, it was a step in the right direction. Still a lot of work to be had, though.
Well, it's no secret the offensive line needs to improve. The fact that they make their first trade ever, in-season trade ever for an offensive lineman speaks volumes to them knowing that it has to improve. So hopefully they make the change this week from what they're saying. That the change is going to be made, and it'll be improving from here.
Mike, real quickly, there was something that happened in my career probably 3 or 4 times, and it does shake up your locker room. Here you are, you come in, you have a game, and all of a sudden you come into your locker room and you look over and there's an empty locker. The nameplate's gone, there's no shoes, no clothes, there's just an empty locker. And that's because the guy has been pooping his pants week in, week out. Now I know there was no salary cap in my era, but that sends a message to your football team. Whoa, dudes, none of you are expendable. Now we know there are, in this day and age, players that are basically untouchable for that year. But that was the message, I think, that Ozzie Newsome and John Harbaugh wanted to send. Not only about, listen, we got issues, but fellas, we're here for one reason, and you know how they say it, we're here for one reason, Raven football, this is how we're going to play, and if you're not in, you're out.
No, it's an excellent point, and hopefully that will have a ripple effect. Certainly down the line, absolutely, and hopefully at least help the left side. But as I've said, though, one guy, okay, that'll help the left guard to some extent. But for the center, the right guard, the right tackle, hey, those guys still have to pick up their game. They still have to play a lot better. We'll pick up the conversation on the offensive line, the offensive more of the Ravens' 26-23 win. Coming up right here on the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, 93.5 The Beach. We're back next. Keep it here.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Come see us at Blue Off.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.